days at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way, from off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers Cutback.
It's 49ers Cutback podcast time. Welcome to the show, everyone. Time for the tale of the tape. San Francisco 49ers versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. And now we've made it through 3 weeks, and we're starting to get intel on exactly who these teams are, how they're performing on offense and defense, which ways they're finding to win. And, of course, you play into that some of the injury concerns, right? That's going to change some of the way that you go about attacking a certain offense or a defense. That definitely can change production. For the 49ers, they're going to be dealing without Nick Bosa for the first time this season. And how is this defense going to respond? Through the 3 quarters against Arizona, it responded pretty well. They were able to hold up. They were able to get a big, tough win against Arizona Cardinals, and they only gave up 13 points. Consistently effective defense. But every game brings different matchups, brings different troubles, different things you have to worry about. Last week, it was Kyler Murray and him being able to take off and run. It was slowing down that Arizona Cardinals running game. Well, guess what? Jacksonville, they can run the ball at a high level too. In fact, they're even more dominant than Arizona is on the ground. In fact, a lot. Like, Jacksonville is one of the best running teams in the league right now. They also have a defense that creates a ton of turnovers. 7 interceptions, created 9 turnovers overall this season. A very accomplished football team. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through. We're going to look at the numbers, what each team is doing on offense and defense this year. We're going to measure these teams up. Then that is going to give us an idea of what the strengths and weaknesses are for each roster, what each team is doing well, and how it counteracts what the other team is doing well. So that way we can start building out what's going to happen when the 49ers play the Jaguars. It kind of sets the table, what we can expect. That way we get into our key matchups and we get into our game preview show. We know exactly what we're looking for when it comes to these two teams. And these two teams are very, very talented football teams. There's definitely not a lack of talent when it comes to Jacksonville. They have a lot of first-round talent on the defense especially. They have some on offense as well, right? Trevor Lawrence. It's an impressive-looking roster. They're 2-1 right now, and we're going to talk about that in 1 second. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I really appreciate it. If you're listening audio platform, 49ers Cutback on Believe Network, please give it a 5-star rating if you feel that I deserve it. Of course, this episode is brought to you by FanDuel. So let's get right into it, the records for each team. And the San Francisco 49ers have a 3-0 record this season, undefeated, 2-0 in division, and they got off to a good start. But none of the games have been easy. It was tough against Seattle in week 1. They were able to get it done. It was tough on the road in New Orleans. They were able to get it done. Then in week 3 against Arizona, they had to figure out how to do it down the stretch with a final drive by Mac Jones, get down there for a game-winning field goal. So it hasn't been easy. For Jacksonville, they played really good last week. And so we're seeing this Jacksonville team have moments where they really excel and play well. So we're getting 2 teams that are playing good at the same time. NFC West best, the San Francisco 49ers and Jacksonville right there atop the AFC South. Competing and definitely looking to make some plays this season. So right now, everyone's in it. No one's out of this thing early on in the season. We'll talk about points. San Francisco 49ers are averaging 19.7 points per game. And I don't think coming into the season, the 49ers were expecting to only score 19.7 points per game. You have Brock Purdy at quarterback. You had George Kittle at tight end. You had Juwan Jennings, who just came off the cusp of a 1,000-yard season last year. You had Ricky Pearsall going into year 2. You got that dynamic ability. Trent Williams was back. You got McCaffrey and everything that he provides your offense. You brought Kyle Juszczyk back. But you've had injuries to Brock Purdy. You had injury to Juwan Jennings. Injury to George Kittle. And your offense just hasn't been as effective. Scored over 20 when they needed to. But for the most part, the offense hasn't really done a whole lot. You look at the Jacksonville Jaguars, they're averaging almost 4 yards more per game than the 49ers, and they have been effective in being able to score points. A lot of it because of their run game. But effective offense right now, and part of it effective defense as well. We'll be talking about the turnover numbers as this goes on, but both these teams can score 49ers definitely not scoring what they believe they should. Offensive yards per game, 49ers at 361, Jaguars at 356. Both teams move the ball. Both teams get yardage. Both teams win the time of possession. Effective offense. They might do it two different ways, and that's what we're going to talk about because I think that they do. But, both have the abilities. Now, you look at the injuries, and this is one of the biggest concerns for the San Francisco 49ers is going to be the injury concerns because the Jaguars really are pretty healthy. Now, question marks about wide receiver Dyami Brown. He left last week with a shoulder injury. Hoping to get an update, but at time of recording, I don't have an update on Dyami Brown. So I'm not sure if he's going to be available to go against the 49ers or not. Dyami Brown has been the second best wide receiver on the Jaguars with catches and yards. He's been very effective. And then backup offensive guard Wyatt Millum, he's also out with an injury. So not a lot of injuries for Jacksonville. The Dyami Brown one could be pretty interesting because of the lack of depth when you're talking about the wide receiver position. They still have Brian Thomas. He's really, really good. They have Travis Hunter as well. So get to see a lot of the young guy there. Tim Patrick, very accomplished. He's had a pretty good career, big receiver. And then Parker Washington, who will probably get a lot of extra touches as well. But the Dyami Brown one is interesting. So we'll see what happens with their injuries. For the 49ers, Brock Purdy, right, still questionable. Mac Jones, questionable with the knee. Juwan Jennings, he's day-to-day with the ankle injury. Defensive tackle CJ West, the 49ers rookie, had surgery on his thumb, and there's a chance he's going to play. He's going to try to go with the cast, but we'll see how that plays out. Defensive end Nick Bosa, of course, one of the new injuries. He's out for the season with the torn ACL. And then defensive end Mikael Williams, who's dealing with a wrist injury, but he's expected to play. He's listed as day-to-day as well. So some injury concerns for the 49ers, much more than the Jacksonville Jaguars, who have stayed primarily healthy. And if you look at their defense, I mean, their defense is healthy. And that's exactly what you're trying to get when you're going to be a successful team is health matters. And right now, health is on the side of the Jacksonville Jaguars in this game versus the 49ers. 49ers looking to overcome injuries. Jacksonville, not as big of an issue, but they do have a wide receiver injury concern that they'll have to figure out. You look at rush yards per game. This is where Jacksonville really is getting it done. They are running the ball at a high level right now. 141 yards per game. And, that running back room of Travis Etienne and Bichelle Tootin, LaQuint Allen, I mean, they have been good this year. And so effective run game is going to be one of the keys. And 49ers haven't been the best at stopping them. They've been good. They haven't been the best. I thought last week was good against Arizona. They stopped the run game of Arizona pretty effectively. But Kyler Murray kind of padded those stats for the most part with how he was able to run and escape the pocket and extend plays. But this is going to be one of the things the 49ers have to do in this game. They have to slow down the running game of the Jacksonville Jaguars. They have to make this a Trevor Lawrence must defeat you type game. Put him in some third and long situations and make him be effective there. He has turned over the football a little bit this year. So there's some opportunities for the 49ers if they can slow down Jacksonville's run game. If they can't, the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to have a very good day on offense. That's going to create some easy convertible third downs and give Trevor Lawrence some easy throws to be able to make. And so this is going to be one of the key matchups in this game is that 49ers defense, run defense against the Jacksonville Jaguars run game. And for the 49ers, the 89 yards is not typical 49ers. I mean, even last year, without Christian McCaffrey, the 49ers still rushed for over 120 yards per game at 129. And, of course, they had Jordan Mason. They had Isaac Guerrero. They were still having explosive runs and being able to consistently get the run game going. It wasn't as effective as 2023 when Christian McCaffrey went crazy and they were over 140 yards a game like Jacksonville, but it was still effective. But under 100 yards on the ground is a couple of reasons why. Number one, teams are stacking the box, not allowing the 49ers to get the run game going, putting the emphasis on, especially the backup quarterback, Mac Jones, to win. It's been a good game plan, but the 49ers have been able to figure it out. And then also you had some changes. You have a new tight end blocking. He's been effective, but it's not consistent. You're missing George Kittle right now. That hurts when it comes to run blocking. You also have a starting left guard that is a rookie, and he hasn't been as effective as what you were getting from Aaron Banks last year. So there has been some changes, and it has affected the 49ers running game. 49ers got to get it going if they're going to have a successful season. Right now, 3-0, though, doing pretty good. You look at pass yards per game. 49ers at 271 yards per game, Jacksonville at 214. Part of the reason that these numbers are the way they are is the 49ers have had to turn to the pass because their run game hasn't been as effective. And for Jacksonville, their run game has been more effective, so they haven't had to go to the pass. Now, I will say this. If Jacksonville is forced to pass more, I don't think that their passing game is going to ultimately be that much more effective. Trevor Lawrence has been up and down with accuracy and with turnovers. But with the 49ers, they threw over 40 times last week with Mac Jones. I don't think that's the ultimate way to go. They need to run the ball. They need to get a little bit more balance. They like this number around 250. If you're having the most explosive, most balanced offense, you're going to rush for 150 yards and you're going to throw for 250. That's the number. You get to 400 yards of offense. That's the most successful number. That's tough to attain, but that is the balance you're looking for. 49ers used to get there pretty effectively. In 2023, they ran for really close to 150 yards, and they threw for a little over 250 every single week. That's why their offense was so explosive. So that is the attainable number that both of these teams are striving for. And as you can see right now, the passing game for Jacksonville, it's been effective, but probably not where it should be, and it could hurt a little bit without De'Ami Brown. So let's go through the quarterback numbers. Brock Purdy versus Mac Jones. Versus Trevor Lawrence. Mac Jones, I'm going to talk about him too. But Brock Purdy's numbers in just the week one game, he was 74% against the Seattle Seahawks, 74.3, 277 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. And one of those interceptions wasn't very good. He was sacked 1 time for a 92.2 rating. Bigger sample size for Trevor Lawrence, 55.8 completion percentage. That's what I'm talking about when it comes to accuracy and making this a Trevor Lawrence game for the 49ers. If you can effectively disrupt him and his timing, it can make for some bad plays for Trevor Lawrence. So that's something to remember. The 49ers got to earn the right to rush the passer on third down. And Trevor Lawrence is thrown for 671 yards. Not bad through 3 games. Pretty good. And then touchdowns, 4 touchdowns, which is a good number. 4 interceptions is not. You want to be at a 2-to-1 ratio. Neither Brock Purdy nor Trevor Lawrence are at a 2-to-1 ratio. So right now, they're turning the ball over too much. For Brock, it was just 1 game. For Trevor Lawrence, it's been 3. But he's definitely wants to do a better job of taking care of the ball. Sacks, he's been sacked 3 times. That's a low number. That means partly the offensive line has been effective. The other part to this is the fact that Trevor Lawrence does a good job of escaping at times and getting rid of the football. And so that really helps, them, not have these negative plays. So Trevor Lawrence will be asked to do that again against a 49ers defense. It's going to be looking to get after him, especially blitzing if they get to third down with that effective blitz. They've been bringing guys off the edge and linebackers. Now, Trevor Lawrence's quarterback rating is 70.3. Now, I want to talk about what Mac Jones has done too. I expect Brock Purdy to play this week, but I want to cover Mac Jones just in case. And Mac Jones has been 66.3% completion percentage and 563 yards through 2 games. Very effective offense. 4 touchdowns to 1 interception. That's more than the 2-to-1 ratio. He's doing a really good job. He's been sacked 4 times, which through 2 games is pretty good for Mac Jones, who's a quarterback that plays within the pocket. And then rating a 98.1. So Mac Jones has been very effective in the 2 starts that he had in place of Brock Purdy. But it kind of gives you a picture of the 49ers, what they want to do on offense. They want to be effective with that quarterback. They don't want to ask him to do too much. You don't want games where Mac Jones has to throw it over 40 times. Now, it was necessary, but that's not what you're looking for. At Jacksonville, kind of the same thing. They don't want to have to throw too much with Trevor Lawrence. They want to be able to hand the football off. And if the Jacksonville Jaguars run this ball anywhere close to 35 times, there's a really good chance they win this game. So 49ers need to keep them under 30 rushes by being effective, slowing down that Jacksonville run game. And for the 49ers, they want to find balance. They've got to start running the ball. But Brock Purdy, Mac Jones, you got to be effective when you're out there at quarterback. Talk about third down conversion percentage for the offenses. 49ers have kind of come back down to earth. They were really close to 50% over the first couple of weeks. Last week against Arizona, it fell off. But week 1, they were 50%. Week 2, they were over 50%. Week 3, not so good on third down. And so you see that number topple down to 43.6%. They need to get this over 45%. And in this game, they need to play close to 50% on third down. But the way you're effective on third down is by having third and shorts. 49ers faced too many third and mediums and third and longs last week, which made it easier for the Arizona Cardinals to get stops on third down. So this is one thing the 49ers are going to have to do well. Now, you look at the Arizona Cardinals, they're not good on third down. They haven't been effective. Under 40% is not good. Now, it's not terrible. You get under 35%, that's where you start questioning, the offensive coordinator and what you're able to do on offense effectively. But this is part of the reason I talked about the game plan for the 49ers will be to stop the run early and put it on Trevor Lawrence to be effective on third down. So far, he hasn't proven that he can do that consistently. So expect Robert Saleh to make a point to take away easy stuff early and put the onus on Trevor Lawrence to execute when the time comes. I think it's a very interesting matchup. But let's look at the defenses. 49ers defense has been superb. One of the better ones in the league, getting off the field on third down. Week 1, it was 30%. Since then, they've been hovering around 33 to 35%. Really good team defense for the 49ers on third down. The problem with it is a couple times last week, they got the stop on third and then gave up fourth and shorts. So I'm sure they'd like to see more third and longs than the third and shorts and third and mediums they faced last week. But still really effective defense, forcing fumbles, forcing stops. And that's exactly what Robert Saleh's defense needs to do against Jacksonville. Jacksonville's defense has been really good this year. But when it comes to third downs, they give it up a little bit more than I think they'd want. Now, they're right in the kind of the average NFL range, right around 40%. They're actually at 40.9. I did round it up. If you're wondering, why it went up, that's what it is. But they're right there in that area. And I think that when you look at their defense, it's been effective, especially when they slow down somebody on first and second down. So first and second down success for the 49ers offense is extremely important if you're going to be able to consistently get first downs against Jacksonville. They have the talent, they have the personnel to get stops. And we don't want Brock Purdy or Mac Jones in a situation to be third and long and have to deal with this defensive line coming at you because they got some absolute studs over there. We know Eric Armstead will be looking for the revenge game, and he's going to be matched up against Dominic Puni and Connor Kobe. Those are going to be some tough battles for those guys. If Puni was healthy, it would be an all-timer. But they also got Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker. Devon Hamilton will bring some stuff on early downs. Very talented group of pass rushers. So if you get to third down, it could end up being a little bit of a problem for your football team. So right now, 49ers defense, though, superb there. And I think they've got an advantage on third downs just by going off the numbers and the success rates and just what so far the season trends have shown. Now, let's look at the red zone offense. San Francisco 49ers at 45%. This is another number that has slowly trickled down through the first week. It was good. 49ers were 3 of 5, and then since then it's kind of just fallen off a little bit. So 49ers need their red zone offense to be more successful, and they need to be more effective. And I believe it was actually 2 of 5 in the week 1 matchup. It was perfect against the New Orleans Saints, so I misspoke. But this number needs to be up over 50%. And you see Jacksonville, they're at 50%. If you want to be a great offense, you're going to score touchdowns at over a 60%. 49ers in 2023 at 68%. So neither one of these teams are great right now in the red zone. They're just effective, pretty much good enough. And so they got to get a lot better when it comes to red zone offense. And red zone defense, 49ers number looks inflated because New Orleans Saints were 3 of 3, but really they were good in week 1 against Seattle, and they were good last week against Arizona. And so that's why this number did drop 11 points from last week. New Orleans kind of inflated it. We'll get more of a balanced number as this year kind of progresses, but 49ers know they need their red zone defense to be very effective. You need this under 50%. And you look at Jacksonville at 50%, they're in the right area where they want to be. They need to be effective in the red zone. Field goals over touchdowns is what every single defense is trying to do. Bend and don't break. And right now, 49ers defense is broke a little bit more, even though they're not really giving up points, which is a great sign because you don't want to give up points, in these matchups. Very important. Now, if you were going to bet on points, bet with FanDuel. Right now, the 49ers are favored at plus 3.5 at home against the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's a good opportunity if you feel like the 49ers are going to win by more than a field goal to bet on the 49ers. The over-under for this game right now is 46.5. And so last week, that you would have definitely had to go under with that Arizona Cardinals 49ers only having 31 points between the two of them. So if you think this offenses are going to go off, you could bet the over. If you don't, bet the under. But there's lots of great same-day parlays. There's player props, all kinds of good stuff over on FanDuel. Check it out. Well, let's get back to the numbers. I talked about the points per game. The points allowed, 49ers at 16.3 points per game, and the Jaguars at 17. This is really, really good defense. If you look what the 49ers have done, week 1, they allowed 13 points for Seattle. Week 2 was 21 against New Orleans, a little bit more than they wanted to give up. And then last week against the Arizona Cardinals, on defense, they really only gave up 13 with the safety that was on top of that. So 49ers have done a very good job of holding teams to under 2 touchdowns. That's been effective defense. You look at the Jaguars, they're doing the same thing. Very effective, not allowing teams to score, making it difficult to get points. This is the mark of 2 very good defenses. Now, it's not quite elite, right? Elite is 15 and under, but these are very good numbers. Anywhere 16, 17, you're doing a good job of keeping teams from scoring points. That's very effective defense for both of these teams. You look at yards allowed per game, 49ers are allowing 265. This is pretty common in the NFL. Anything under 250 is really good, right? That's kind of where you want to be. So they're giving up about 15 extra yards per game than really good. And for the Jacksonville Jaguars, they're closer to 300. They want to get this number under 275 for sure, which is kind of like an average for defensive yards. But if teams aren't scoring, you're not really worried about yards, but just kind of gives you an idea of what teams are trying to do when they look at their numbers. Effective, defense as far as against the run and a pass is to keep it under 250. That's really good. 275 is effective defense. And that's kind of looking at both those teams. They've been effective, but 49ers a little bit more effective in not giving up extra yards. You look at pass yards allowed per game, 49ers 162, which is really good. I mean, this is a really good number. This pass defense has been effective, and it's not like the run defense has inflated this, where teams are just running all over the 49ers, and so they don't have to throw. That's not the case. The run defense has been pretty decent, and so this is just a really good pass defense for the 49ers, which is interesting because it boasts 2 rookies and a sophomore player. Because you have Renardo Green in his second season, he's starting at corner. You have Upton Stout at nickel corner, and then you have Marquis Siegel at safety, and they've still been very effective. Pass rush has forced the teams to throw the ball underneath, and you look at the stat lines of guys like Spencer Rattler and Kyler Murray, it was a check down fest. It was just throw it underneath, take what the defense gives you, and when it was all said and done, it was not very effective offense. And so this is one of those cases where 49ers pass defense has been good. And you look at Jacksonville, and it's not bad, right? This is kind of where the defense hovered for the 49ers last year, around 210 yards per game, which is not bad. The way that teams aren't being able to run the ball against the Jaguars, it illustrates why their number would be a little bit inflated. But this is an avenue the 49ers got to target. They've got to be able to take advantage of the secondary of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Corners for Jacksonville, Jerry and Jones. You've got Tyson Campbell, very talented, right? Talented guys. At safety, Eric Murray and Andrew Wingard. These are talented guys that they got playing in their secondary. And, of course, their nickel back is Jordan Lewis, who used to be with Dallas. 49er fans are familiar with him. So it's not that their secondary is bad. It's just that's been the avenue teams have been more effective as far as yards. Not effective when it comes to not turning over the football. I can't wait to get to those numbers because, that's going to be very interesting. You look at rush yards allowed per game. This is what I've been alluding to. Jaguars only give up 82 yards per game on the ground. That is really good run defense. Really, really good. And so this is a strength of their defense is that interior portion of their defensive line. Devon Hamilton, Eric Armstead for sure. But then they got 2 first round picks. I mean, really 3 first round picks when you're talking Armstead, Hines Allen, and Trevon Walker. Very talented, good linebackers who can run with Oluwukin and with Devin Lloyd. Both those guys, very talented guys. So it's a good group overall. These guys are going to be good run stoppers. 49ers are going to be pushed to the test as far as running the ball against the Jacksonville Jaguars defense. So we'll see. I think this might be a game. Jacksonville, doesn't load up the box. 49ers have been seeing 8-man boxes pretty consistently. If Jacksonville can stop it with 7, that's going to make it very difficult for the 49ers to be successful on offense throwing the ball too. So it's important for the 49ers to establish a run game and make Jacksonville have to entertain putting an 8th man in the box to be successful. You look at the 49ers run defense, and like I said, it hasn't been as bad as the numbers. Week 1, they held Seattle under 100 yards on the ground. Week 2 was a little bit inflated. Alvin Kamara got 100 yards, but they were inviting the New Orleans Saints to run the ball down the stretch in the game because they wanted them to use clock. So it kind of inflated the numbers a little bit. And then when you look at last week, Kyler Murray inflated those numbers because of his yards per carry. But you look at the other guys. I mean, Trey Benson, besides the 129-yard run, really had 9 carries for 13 yards. That's not effective. And you look at, the other running backs that they had, and they just weren't effective. It was all about Kyler Murray kind of inflating those numbers and helping that run out. So the 49ers are better against the run than their numbers say. Jacksonville, though, their number stands up. They're really good against the run. Got to give them credit for that. That is for sure. Now, before we talk about turnovers, I got to talk to you guys about something that's very important if you're looking to hire for your job. If you're going to hire, try with ZipRecruiter. Are you waiting for the right candidates to apply, sorting through resumes, trying to find candidates, but they're not actively looking for jobs? Well, the future of hiring looks much brighter because of ZipRecruiter's latest tools and features and help speed. Help speed up finding the right people for your roles so you have valuable time. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/audio. With ZipRecruiter's new advances, you can easily find and connect with qualified candidates in minutes. No wonder ZipRecruiter is the #1 rated hiring site based on G2 at ZipRecruiter.com/audio. Use ZipRecruiter and save time hiring. 4 of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get quality candidate within the first day. And if you go to ZipRecruiter.com/audio right now, you can try it for free. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/audio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And giveaways and takeaways are one of the biggest ways you win a game. And both of these teams have given the ball away more than they'd like. So you want this to be under 1 turnover per game. Right now, they are giving the ball up over 1 per game. So in week 1, Brock Purdy had 2 interceptions. That wasn't great. Mac Jones in week 2 had the strip sack fumble. In week 3, he threw an interception. So that is your 4. All of them accounted for by the quarterback position. Running backs have taken care of the ball. Wide receivers have taken care of the ball. 49ers quarterbacks need to take care of the ball a little bit better. Now, minus Brock Purdy having the 2 interceptions in week 1, Mac Jones has done a pretty good job of only allowing 1. Now, you look at Trevor Lawrence, and he's accounted for every single interception and every single turnover. He has 4. So quarterbacks are going to have to take care of the football in this game. And for the 49ers, it's even more important because the Jacksonville Jaguars have been very good at taking it away. That's right, 9 turnovers. That is impressive stat line. That's what the 49ers looked like in 2023 when they were creating turnovers at such a high level. 9 turnovers is phenomenal. They have 7 interceptions and 2 fumbles. That is really good. That is elite caliber defense when it comes to turning over the football. They are #1 in the NFL at causing turnovers. So the 49ers are going to have to do a good job of taking care of the ball and not allowing for Jacksonville to get turnovers. If they do, Jacksonville's going to have short fields and give their offense more opportunities, more time to lean on that running game, more time to get the clock running, to win the time of possession, and really put some pressure on the 49ers. So this is going to be big. 49ers have forced 3 takeaways, which is good. 1 per game is not bad. It's not. You'd like 2 per game, but 1 per game is not bad. You look at the Jacksonville Jaguars, they're averaging 3 per game. That is elite caliber turnover potential. right? Takeaways, they're killing it. The 49ers need to get some takeaways against Trevor Lawrence. He will put the ball in the air and give you opportunities to come down with it. So this is going to be a key factor in this football game. And you look at the turnover differential, 49ers at -1. The fact that they are 3-0 and they are -1, not good. They left week 1 at 0 turnover differential. At week 2, 0 at turnover differential, which means you're playing it straight across. And then week 3, they lost the turnover battle and still won the game. And they had a safety involved in that too. It shouldn't happen. Those are anomalies. That's not something you can have happen consistently and win games. And you look at the Jaguars at +5, that's how you win games. So the Jacksonville Jaguars +5 turnover differential, a huge advantage. So turnovers are a huge advantage. Run defense, a huge advantage for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Run offense, a huge advantage for the Jacksonville Jaguars. For the 49ers, huge advantages come on third down, where the 49ers defense gets off the field, and only allow you 33% conversion rate. Big advantage is the fact that the Jacksonville Jaguars offense hasn't been really good either on third down, 37.5% that they convert. So that's a big advantage for the 49ers. 49ers passing game, probably a little bit of an advantage against Jacksonville, but not very big. This game is going to be interesting, that is for sure. I'm really excited to watch what both of these teams do and how Robert Saleh tries to figure out how to slow down the Jacksonville Jaguars run game. If they are effective, they will have a shot to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. If they're not, Jacksonville Jaguars are going to win the time possession. They're going to wear down the 49ers defense, and they're going to ultimately be able to kind of win this game. So it's going to be exciting. It's not going to be easy, but the 49ers have the necessary tools to get it done. But this is the tale of the tape. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you're listening audio platform, 49ers Cutback on Believe Network, please give it a 5-star rating. This episode was brought to you by FanDuel. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Until then, stay safe. Remember, the right way is always the 49ers way.